With nearly 700,000 units sold in 2022, the Ford F-Series is the best-selling vehicle in North America, and for 2024, Ford is giving the F-150 a pretty thorough revision. I'm here on the floor of the 2023 Detroit International Auto Show, and this right here is the 2024 F-150. Let's take a first look. So it's hard to believe that the 14th generation of the F-150 has been out for about 3 years now, which is why we're seeing a subtle exterior refresh. I remember when I first saw this truck back in early 2020 for the 2021 model year, I was overall impressed. I mean, this is America's best-selling vehicle, so Ford doesn't want to mess with the successful formula here. And you can see, in terms of the exterior styling, this model here that I'm showing you is the Tremor trim level. This is the more off-road oriented trim. It's kind of one notch below the Raptor, which the Raptor is here. We'll try to show you guys a clip of the Raptor as well. You can see the front fascia is the most recognizable change. You have a new corporate grille here, which has actually been enlarged. Ford said they wanted the grille to actually make the truck look wider, which I don't know why. This is already one of the widest vehicles in the segment. You can see you have these kind of bronze accents here, along with the amber illuminated daytime running light. All F-150s now come standard with full LED headlights. That is an upgrade over the 2023 model, which some of the lower trims had halogens. Now all of them have the reflector style LEDs. If you guys go for the higher trims, you'll have a projector style LED, and then the LED light signature also changes depending on the trim level. So the Tremor, you can see, has just one little light piece here, a kind of a 2-bar design that's amber. The Raptor will also have an amber illuminated daytime running light, where it kind of has like this new piece here that kind of goes and creates almost like a C shape. Especially if you guys look at trims like the Platinum and the Limited or the Lariat trim level, you can see the front bumper on this model here is also very unique. This is a modular front bumper, which has been necessary for Ford, of course, to add features like this worn winch. This is actually a dealer accessory. It has the ability to tow up to 12,000 pounds. And you can see it has this really meaty steel design in case you guys, again, plan to go off-roading and whatnot. You need to tow the vehicle out of a stuck situation. But the modular front bumper is kind of key here with some of the design changes. You'll find that on some other trims. This is kind of taking a page from the Bronco. Ford is adding a lot of the technologies and features that they learned from the Bronco and kind of applying it to the F-150. You still have LED fog lights as well, which is definitely a nice touch. And then we have these meaty tow recovery hooks here, which is kind of necessary again for the off-road trim. This model here, I believe, has an extra inch or two of ground clearance. So this is kind of, think of it as like a Raptor Lite for those of you who don't quite want to spend that money on a Raptor. Now, in terms of underneath the hood, the powertrain's also got some upgrades, but they're also kind of the same. The base 3.3-liter V6 engine, naturally aspirated, has been discontinued. That made 290 horsepower. Now the standard engine is the 2.7-liter twin-turbo V6 from, again, the Bronco, which makes 325 horsepower, around 400 pound-feet of torque. There's still a 5-liter V8 that's also available that makes 400 horsepower. The 3.5-liter EcoBoost twin-turbo V6 is also still available, making 400 horsepower. The PowerBoost Hybrid, however, Ford says that's the model that they're planning to double production on, because Ford says that right now around 10% of F-150s are hybrids. They're trying to make that number 20%. That's still going to make around 430 horsepower, 570 pound-feet of torque. That's the most torque-rich out of the F-150's engines when you don't count in the Raptor, of course. And then the Raptor has the high-output EcoBoost, which makes around 500 horsepower. And then there's also the Raptor R, which still should be making over 700 horsepower. Ford says that the R is going to get a little bit more power, but they haven't told us how much more power, and they also aren't quite ready to talk about fuel economy. The hybrid used to get around 24 and 25 mpg, so I expect that to stay pretty much the same. F-150s continue to be available with either rear-wheel drive or different all-wheel drives, depending on the configuration you guys go and for the trim levels. Now, looking at the side profile, you can see this looks pretty much the same. The Tremor trim here that I'm showing you only comes as a crew cab with the shorter 5.5-foot bed. So it's probably going to have an overall length of around 232 inches long. Remember, this is a big full-size truck, and that's why Americans love this so much, because it offers a ton of space, a ton of capability. The Tremor trim includes these all-terrain general grabber tires with the unique 18-inch alloy wheel with kind of like a graphite gray finish. The suspension is also lifted a couple inches, as I mentioned earlier, but the Raptor is going to give you the most ground clearance. I believe this has just under 10 inches of ground clearance. The Raptor, you can get it with as much as 12 inches of ground clearance. So you're going to want, that kind of capability if you guys plan to do some serious off-roading. I'm surprised to see that Ford is still using this kind of mast-style antenna as opposed to integrating it into the rear or into the front windshield. So kind of keep that in mind. I'm surprised they didn't change that, but you can see here the design here is pretty much the same. You still have that kind of characteristic trademark dip here that allows for much better visibility. You can still get tow mirrors. This model here obviously doesn't have that. And then looking at the side profile here, you can see this is all pretty much the same. The 5.5-foot bed is still going to be very useful. The taillight area, you can see it got a new design this year, which I hate to say it, it kind of reminds me of the Nissan Titan, which has been discontinued, but it looks like Ford liked the taillight design, so they decided to implement it there. It's a full LED taillight design as well. I also love how the Tremor has a dual exhaust outlet system. So along with the tow hooks, along with the towing package, this vehicle here definitely has a much more aggressive look. Now, looking at the rear tailgate, this is an area where a lot of American manufacturers have been designing new and unique tailgates to kind of improve your how this vehicle functions in your life if you plan to use it as a work vehicle. Ford calls this Pro Access tailgate. So what it does here, this tailgate here basically opens up in the traditional sense. So if you guys want a traditional tailgate, it'll do that. It also has the power opening and close feature, which is nice. You can also just come in here and just push the button, the tailgate will close on its own. You can also still get that integrated step as well. However, this Pro Access tailgate allows you to basically open up the tailgate from the side. So there's an arrow here that points to a button. If you push that button here, the tailgate will pop open, and it actually has little divots in the actual tailgate hinge itself. So you can open it up at 37 degrees, which it'll stop. You can open it up at 70 degrees, which it'll stop. And then you can open it up completely at 100 degrees. And this is where it's gonna be nice for shorter people like myself to get access into the tailgate itself. Now, this is also great if you guys have a trailer behind the vehicle, because if you have a trailer, you can still access the tailgate because you can open up this much and you're not kind of bumping the actual trailer itself. But you can see here, when you get back here, they actually widen this little step over here that allows shorter people like myself to kind of use this as a step to get into the truck bed itself. There's also a nice little step right here, which you can kind of kick down. And this step, again, gives you the ability to kind of access the inside of the bed. So this is a really nice touch here. And I like how Ford is kind of giving you this like clever touch. Now, this is kind of similar to what Honda offers on the Ridgeline. However, unlike the Ridgeline, which opens up completely, Ford, again, kind of uses the middle section of the tailgate itself. So this is a really clever touch. This tailgate, Ford says, will be available on, I believe, the Lariat trims and up. It's standard on the King Ranch and the Platinum and Platinum Plus trims, but I think it's a really nice touch. The tailgate itself, Ford says the capabilities have pretty much stayed the same. You have a maximum payload of around 2,400 pounds. This vehicle will also tow a maximum of 13,500 pounds. That's actually down compared to the 2023 model, and that's because Ford made their 36-gallon fuel tank standard equipment, which means it did lower the capability, but it's still, Ford says, among the best in the class in terms of payload and in terms of towing. So as you can see, we switched over to this Platinum Plus trim, which is the new top-of-the-line version. It replaces the Limited, and as you can see, it's got a lot of gear in this truck, and this is how Ford expects most owners to use the F-150. You're going to use it for your tools, you're going to use it for storing a bike, but I wanted to show you guys really quickly the Pro Power on board, because this Platinum Plus comes standard with the Power Boost hybrid powertrain, which means you have a 7.2 kilowatt onboard power system, which basically means up to 7,200 watts. This is going to allow you to power your power tools, power like a grill or refrigerator. This is a really nice class exclusive feature. And remember, Ford offers either a 2.0 kilowatt, a 2.4 kilowatt, or this optional 7.4, which is, I believe, like an extra $900. This is a game-changing feature, and I'm really surprised other manufacturers like Toyota with the Tundra, which is also a hybrid, doesn't offer this much Pro Power on board, which is definitely a nice touch. But let's go ahead and hop into the interior, because this Platinum grade has a new luxury-oriented interior. And this is the Platinum Plus, which I mentioned earlier, replaces the Limited. It has these power retractable running boards, which are an extra charge. And this interior here, you can see, is a unique color on the Platinum Plus. And I have to say, this feels like it belongs in a Lincoln. The upgraded leather that you see here is kind of has like the diamond quilting. It offers like massaging, heat, and ventilation, and adjusts in like 12 different ways. You also can still get that max recline function where the seat will fold completely down and create like a bed if you guys want to take a nap in the truck. And overall, you can see the Platinum, I really like this kind of smoked truffle. That's what they call this interior. It's smoked truffle. In person, it definitely has kind of like a taupe brown exterior or color to it, along with the contrast copper stitching. It looks very upscale, very premium. The dashboard, however, as you can see, looks pretty much the same. Now, Ford did upgrade the technology, because you do have basically the 12-inch display is going to be standard equipment. It's going to have their Sync 4 infotainment system. Unfortunately, I can't turn on the screen for you right now to show you guys. And then you also have their 12-inch fully digital instrument cluster. That's going to be standard equipment even on the base versions of the F-150. So they've upgraded the tech, but they haven't made the screens any larger. Now, I could complain about that. However, the 12-inch display I already thought was a really good size. I mean, obviously you can get a bigger display in the Tundra, which is 14 inches, but I am surprised to see that they don't offer the 15.5-inch display from the Lightning in this truck, which, by the way, the Lightning is pretty much the same for 2024. Now, in terms of the rest of the interior, you can see the steering wheel. The Platinum has this kind of unique steering wheel design with the Platinum badging. There's kind of this aluminum look trim. There's also real genuine wood in this interior as well, which is nice. The center console here, you can see is still pretty much the same. You have this big console door with the genuine wood. You have a wireless phone charging pad there, 2 USB charging ports, your drive mode selectors here, along with your trailer brake controller. You have dual zone climate control with heated and ventilated seats. You have their shifter over here, which controls the 10-speed automatic that still folds down, that gives you the ability to kind of fold this down and create a table, a little workstation for those of you who need to like put a laptop computer over here, which is a nice touch. I don't particularly like how flimsy this feels, however, because of the design. But for those of you who don't like this, if you go for the base trim, you actually will have a column shifter, and you'll kind of have this area here as like open storage. But you can see here, there's a Platinum badge here, and it also shows you like a production number as well to kind of make you feel like you have something even more special and unique. And then this center console here, you can see opens up. It's also lockable for those of you who want to store some things. It's also a very deep storage console area. I also like how Ford restrained from using some shiny piano black plastic trim, which would get really nasty and scratched up. And then over here, you can see the glove compartment. There's actually two. There's a little storage one over here, and then there's a traditional bin style here. It's damped, but not lined with felt. It offers a good amount of storage, which is what you expect. You also have an actual power outlet here, a 120 outlet over there as well. And the rest of the controls and buttons and such, they look pretty much the same. I'm surprised to see Ford isn't including a more upscale looking digital camera rearview mirror or a frameless auto dimming rearview mirror. That would have been a nice touch as well, but you can see above me here, there's a massive panoramic sunroof, which is gonna be standard on the Platinum Plus. I also love, check this out guys, it has like this really nice Alcantara on the actual headliner. This is something that you expect in luxury brands, and I believe only the Platinum Plus is gonna give you that feature. So kind of keep that in mind. You're gonna be paying a pretty penny for this, but it certainly feels like a Lincoln in here. It feels like an actual luxury truck, minus some of the interior materials, which still kind of remind you of a regular F-150, but overall, it's a really nice package. Let me hop into the back seat, because this is another reason why people love F-150s is their gigantic back seats. Now this back seat, as you can see, has just over 43 inches of legroom, about 43.6 actually. You can see for somebody my height, this has a ton of space. Now, the floor is also completely flat here, which I love, so you can actually fit 3 people across. The vehicle is also very wide. You have rear seat air vents back here. You have 2 level heated seats. You have an actual power outlet, and you actually have another outlet over here along with 2 more USB-C charging ports. So there's a ton of space here if you guys plan to use this as a family car. The materials here also kind of carry over. There's some nice soft touch materials here with the actual leather along the door panels, along the dashboard. The seats themselves also have the ability to kind of flip up, where you're gonna find a little bit of storage over here, which is definitely a nice touch. The battery pack for the hybrid system actually lives underneath the bed of the vehicle, so it's not gonna be over here. If you wanna fold this down, thank you, Rob, for pulling that little lever that allows you to fold it down. There's an armrest here that folds down as well that gives you 2 cup holders. This rear window also slides open power electrically. However, what I really like about the Toyota Tundra is it's completely fold down rear window, the sliding rear window. That's only a Toyota thing, but at least Ford does give you a little bit of ventilation back here, along with the big panoramic sunroof. But overall, if you're looking for one of the biggest back seats, this definitely has that all. However, if you guys remember the Ram, that also has a reclining back seat. That's something that the Ford F-150 sadly does not offer. So if you guys are looking for the ultimate version of the revised F-150, you're gonna find it, of course, in the Raptor R. The R version, as you guys know, has the motor from the Shelby GT500, a 5.2-liter supercharged V8. And then, of course, in case you guys forget it's an R, it has these graphics here with the orange, code orange R logos to remind everybody that this is a V8 powered truck. You also have these massive 37-inch tall tires, which again, these are one of the tallest in the industry. This is the model here that gives you up to 12 inches of ground clearance and nearly 14 inches of suspension travel, depending on whether you're talking about the front or the rear of the truck. The Raptor R only comes as the crew cab configuration with the shorter bed, and it also, as you can see, has the much wider body along with some functional vents. The hood also has a unique bulging design with the code orange logo there to remind you this has the 5.2-liter V8, which, by the way, Ford says the supercharged V8 is going to get a little bit more power this year, but they haven't talked about how much more power. Remember, the Ram TRX was just announced to be discontinued, so the Raptor R is going to be in a class of its own. However, this is technically not the most powerful truck in the segment. That's going to belong to, of course, the fully electric trucks like the Rivian and the GMC Hummer EV truck. But if you guys are looking for the ultimate off-road oriented gas-powered truck, the Raptor R is going to give that to you. You can see the updated front end here. The headlights have a unique look. They're a little bit wider. They have the orange amber LED daytime running lights, although it still lacks that additional piece down here, and that's because of this modular bumper that you get for the Raptor R, which is, again, is a steel bumper. You have the Rigid Industries fog lights here, along with the Raptor specific grille with the orange amber three-pointed running light there, which again accentuates just how wide this truck is. Now, if you are looking to get your hands on the new Ford F-150, this vehicle here, pricing has already been announced and the build site is already live for the consumer site. This truck starts at around $35,800 for the base XL and the Super Cab configuration with two-wheel drive. That's around a $2,000 increase compared to the 2023 model year. If you guys are looking for a crew cab, those are going to at least cost you in the low $40,000 range. The Platinum that I showed you earlier, that one starts at around $73,900. Add 10 grand if you guys want the Plus package. This Raptor is going to be the most expensive to start in terms of the base price. This here starts at around $78,000, just under 78 grand. So you're looking at a couple $1,000 increase. And remember, with options, you can easily load this truck up to be well over $100,000. The last Raptor R that I tested, which was actually around 2 months ago, was around $110,000. So expensive, yes, but still, it's a 700 plus horsepower truck that can go to places that you wouldn't expect an off-road factory-built truck can go. And really all the changes the Ford has made here have been pretty simplified, but they also are effective. I love the fact that the 12-inch display is now standard. You have upgraded styling, which reminds you a little of the Super Duty, but it also is still instantly recognizable as an F-150. And if you are looking to get your hands on this truck, order banks opened today, and I believe deliveries will start toward the end of the year. And remember also, if you guys are looking at the Lightning technically didn't get any changes for 2024, but with all the changes here, I wouldn't be surprised to see the Lightning get upgrades for the 2025 model year. With all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. For Redline Reviews here at the 2023 Detroit International Auto Show, I'm Sofyan Beg.